Have you been paying attention to what's going on with money? Specifically, what's going on with cash as we know it and how the world is actually handling it? One thing I want to point out to is that many people don't realize that money is power, and it's a source for centralized entities like banks and governments to be able to control people. You know, if you don't have any money, there's nothing you can really do. How can you feed your family? So, key things I want to point out to you. The world is moving to central bank digital currencies, which means you will no longer have access to these. So if I want to pay for something with this, I don't have to answer any questions. I can walk somewhere and I can actually pull out some cash and pay. But when it all becomes digital and it's controlled by a government or a central bank, they can turn off my wallet and I'm done. Let me show you what's going on around the world. So we talk about the central bank digital currencies, and it's happening all around the world. Multiple central banks are actually doing this. But as we move in that direction, you're already seeing the hints of what they want to do with it. So for instance, in Australia, Australians are actually being told that they need to make an appointment to withdraw cash as they're moving towards digital currencies. Why? They don't want you to have access to this, because when they go fully digital, they can simply turn it off, or they could actually put conditions on what you can spend your digital currency on or not. They can't do that with this. I can spend this on anything I want. Now, if you're looking at how the world is moving, Australia is one example, right? Well, let's see what's going on in Nigeria. Nigeria has already restricted cash withdrawals, so they only allow you a very limited amount of this. Even though you have access to your cash, you just can't withdraw it. I've always talked about the fact that when you have money and it's in the bank, you don't have that money. Your bank has your money. You just simply have numbers in a database, which is controlled by the bank. And if the bank, for some reason, decides that you should not have access to those numbers, they can simply move it to zero or close your account. And that's the key thing. When you're talking about a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Bitcoin is decentralized. I have access to my private keys. Nobody can shut off my Bitcoin supply. Nobody can tell me who I can send Bitcoin to or not. Nobody can stop anybody from sending me Bitcoin. That's the key thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, because it's decentralized, I don't have to rely on banks. Now, let me point to you further. A country like Argentina. Argentina is now restricting access to US dollars. Why? Because what they're seeing is that their local currency is having such a hard time that people are trying to move to dollars. So they're restricting how people have access to the dollars instead. Big issue. You already saw what's been happening in Venezuela. The Venezuelan local currency is practically worthless. As a result, many people have been trying to find ways to move into Bitcoin because Bitcoin presents a way for them to pull out of the local currency. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: as we move to digital currencies, and I'm not talking about Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency that's decentralized, but moving towards a central bank digital currency, what's going to happen is all of that is a way for the governments and the banks to be able to have control over you because they control who you can spend on or even if you have access to that money.